back. 5 people have been confirmed dead after a powerful explosion flattened 2 New York City apartment buildings yesterday. Wednesday, that is. More than 60 people were injured and 5 occupants of the buildings are still unaccounted for. Alan Booknia reports.
The blast, caused by a gas leak, was so massive it shattered windows blocks away. A plume of smoke covered the skyline in the East Harlem district of Manhattan. Residents of the neighborhood described what they saw.
I got up and went to the kitchen, and all of a sudden I heard a big explosion, and I thought that it was thunder. For anything else, I looked out the window, and all of a sudden I just saw smoke everywhere.
Yeah, when I ran up my building, I ran up the block. There was only a couple people out. I saw them dragging an older lady out the rubble.
Just want to know if my daughter's fine. Oh.
It was just a big boom, and all the debris was coming down.
Windows or?
Oh yeah, the windows behind our buildings, they're all blown up on the floor. My super hurt, his face got cut up.
A resident reported smelling gas to the local utility company about 15 minutes before the explosion, but a team from the company had yet to arrive. New York's fire commissioner says the blast came at 9:30 a.m.
We had our first unit on the scene at 9:33. They were faced with a very heavy fire condition. 2 buildings collapsed, debris covering the sidewalk.
This is a tragedy of the worst kind because there was no indication in time to save people. The impact affected buildings around the 2 that were destroyed. Very heavy impact on the surrounding buildings. A heavy fire has ensued as well.
Witnesses say the blast was so strong it knocked groceries off the shelves of nearby stores. The 2 buildings destroyed were both 5-story brick apartment blocks. Alan Booknia, TVB News.
U.S. President Barack Obama says an upcoming referendum on the future of Ukraine's disputed Crimean region will be completely rejected by Western nations. The tough talk from the White House comes as Ukraine's new prime minister continues a visit to Washington, seeking desperately needed financial aid and support for his fledgling government. James Aiken reports.
The visit to Washington by Ukrainian Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk is intended to help stabilize his country while turning up international pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin to back away from military intervention in Crimea. The visit is also meant to show Russia that Ukraine's ties with the West will not be severed.
If it continues on the path that it is on, then not only us, but the international community, the European Union and others will be forced to apply a cost to Russia's violations of international law and its encroachments on Ukraine.
Mr. President, it's all about the freedom. We fight for our freedom, we fight for our independence, we fight for our sovereignty, and we will never surrender.
Obama is urging Congress to quickly finalize loan guarantees that would supplement billions of dollars in assistance from the European Union and the International Monetary Fund. Yatsenyuk has been casting Russia's Crimean military buildup as part of a broader plan to invade central Ukraine, possibly starting a war. Moscow denies its moves are raising the threat of invasion, but its forces have secured control over the entire Crimean peninsula. Russia's parliament has also given Putin permission to use the military to protect ethnic Russians in Ukraine. As the U.S. sends more fighter jets to Poland and Lithuania, further discussion on Western sanctions against Russia are expected within the next few days. With Sunday's referendum on Crimea's future approaching, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is preparing for talks with his Russian counterpart, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, in London on Friday. Kerry clarified what's at stake in Ukraine's crisis when he told Congress that it can get ugly fast if the wrong choices are made. James Aiken, TVB News.
And back locally, the Customs and Excise Department has busted a suspected scam at a ginseng and dried seafood shop in Chim Sa Choi. The shop allegedly tricked customers into paying up to 10 times the fair price of its products. The undercover operation also led to one arrest and the seizure of $470,000 worth of medicinal products. Joel De Silva reports.
It is a fairly common trick, but this time it was the alleged tricksters who got tricked. On Monday, customs officers disguised as prospective buyers entered a ginseng and dried seafood shop in Chim Sa Choi to buy some herba dendrobi, a medicinal plant. But during the purchase, the salesperson allegedly avoided providing the unit price, misleading the supposed customers into believing that the price would be calculated in tael instead of mace. Not only that, the clerk also quickly ground the goods into powder, allegedly to pressure the buyers into buying the goods, which, in the end, cost 10 times more than what the would-be buyers were expecting. $470,000 worth of herba dendrobi was seized, and a saleswoman, aged 39, was arrested for violating the Trade Descriptions Ordinance.
This section, it prohibits the misleading omission of material information in a trade in relation to a consumer. And in this operation, we found that the shop also exerted undue pressure to the customer by grinding the goods in the powder form before the customer had clearly indicated his decision of buying that good.
Under the Trade Descriptions Ordinance, offenders could face a fine of up to $500,000 and 5 years in prison. Despite that, Superintendent Liu says such practices are fairly common in Hong Kong.
For that reason, the Customs and Excise Department wants consumers to always ask about the unit price and to only agree to having the goods ground or sliced after they're sure they want to make the purchase. Joel De Silva, TVB News.
All right, Chris, over to you for some sports.
Right, and Manchester City is out. Barcelona is moving on to the quarterfinals of the Champions League at the expense of Man City. The Catalans completed a 4-1 aggregate win over the English Premier League club. Lionel Messi was one of the goal scorers in a 2-1 second-leg victory at the Nou Camp. Paris Saint-Germain also qualified for the last 8. To the NBA, and the defending champions, the Miami Heat, maintain they will be fine come playoff time. Lately, they've been losing to teams they should beat, including the Brooklyn Nets. Here's Jamison Wong.
And finally, a 1936 Nobel Peace Prize was discovered at a South American pawn shop and is now headed to the auction house. The recipient of this Nobel Peace Prize was Argentina's Foreign Minister Carlos Saavedra Lamas, who was honored for his role in negotiating the end of the Chaco War between Paraguay and Bolivia. The 23-carat relic weighs in at over 222 grams of gold. In today's gold market, its value is worth over $9,000 US. But as an object to collectors of world history, its value is much greater. It will officially go on sale on March 27th in Baltimore, Maryland, where experts believe it could fetch up to $100,000 US. And that is our news. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Good evening. The weather was mainly cloudy with 1 or 2 rain patches. And as tonight's situation chart shows, the northeast monsoon is affecting the coastal areas of Guangdong. Up to 5 p.m., temperatures range from 19 to 22.2 degrees, and the relative humidity was between 63 to 100%. Light winds becoming moderate to fresh northerlies gradually. The current temperature is now 21 degrees Celsius, with the relative humidity standing at 65%. 0.3 millimeters of rainfall has been recorded since midnight. So, Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow?
Oh.
It will be mainly cloudy tonight, 1 or 2 rain patches tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 16 and 20 degrees. It will be cool on Saturday morning. Tomorrow's Air Quality Health Index is forecast at low to high. The maximum UV index forecast for tomorrow will be about 5. And here's the latest global weather update. Sunny in Shanghai, cloudy in Taipei and Xiamen. Cloudy in Guangzhou and Chengdu. Sunny in Beijing, cloudy in Seoul, rain in Tokyo. Cloudy in Bangkok, sunny in Ho Chi Minh City, showers in Manila. Showers in Kuala Lumpur, thunderstorms in Singapore, rain in Jakarta. Sunny in New Delhi, Karachi, and Mumbai. Showers in Cairo. Showers in Brisbane and Sydney. Cloudy in Toronto. Cloudy in Vancouver, sunny in San Francisco. Cloudy in London and Amsterdam. And that's the weather. Have a lovely evening.